All right. Hey, for the record, Morgan was not a ringer this morning. He volunteered. I did not work that out in advance. Yeah, I was like, I was thinking about him. I was like, hey, I was going to call on him, but I didn't want to do that. And John King was sitting over there. I was like, well, that's a staff member's kid, so I can pick on him. And then Morgan volunteered. I was like, oh, dude, this is perfect.
I remember when you come in there, that raggy sport coat.
Yeah, that was in the old building. Yeah, that was in the old building. That was 24 years ago, Bill. It's crazy. You still remember that? Same thing. Oh, yeah, I'm going to pay Morgan acting fees. Yeah. Morgan's like, well, you're going to take the risk that the next service is going to go okay? Or, yeah, a fee for services here. That's good thinking. Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. I should offer money for this. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Alan's like, hey, he was really good at that, Daniel. Like, you need to think through this. You need to be paying your actors if you're going to, yeah. Well, that's true, yeah. Morgan would decline the money, but on my end, it would be wise to pay off a good actor to play it off as well as he did. Morgan would decline it anyway, but so I could offer, he wouldn't take it, but I'm just saying, he played it off really, really well. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was really good. I was wondering if I had enough stuff, but I think it was enough.
You had enough.
Okay, because like I could get a couple more books, and I was like, I think that's probably enough. Michael West did this exact illustration with me 14 years ago. Remember this, Michael West? I started handing you items on the stage. No, you don't remember this? Oh, wow, okay. I can use him again. He doesn't remember. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you evidence of why teaching in public schools is dangerous. Right there. Yeah. Memory loss. Yeah. Sorry, Michael West. Yeah, you don't remember that. It's a very tactile experience. You don't remember it. In fact, I felt guilty. I was like, I used this illustration, I think it was 12 or 13, maybe 14 years ago. I was like, Michael West is going to be here. He's going to call me out for using it again. But he doesn't remember. Yeah. There's an advantage of preaching at a church where individuals don't always remember stuff. Like, just preach the same sermon the next week. They're like, that sounds familiar. That sounds familiar to me. Yeah. Sounds familiar. Well, anyway. Well, it's good to see you guys this morning. I hope you're doing well. We're nearing the time of the Christmas season. You have plans? You have Christmas plans, anyone? My plan is to not eat anything that day. My medical appointment is the next day at 3. Yeah. So we're going to do Christmas Eve dinner together, and then I have 36 hours of fasting in order to prep for this final. They keep texting me. They texted me again yesterday. Hey, we have a cancellation. You want to move up to an earlier appointment? I'm like, quit texting me. I'm coming on the 26th. I've been prepping for this for 3 months. But anyway, yeah. So I've been working hard at this. We'll see how it goes. I'll probably fail it, and then be like, okay. But yeah, we have to renew the church's life insurance on the pastor. And the mortgage company requires us to have key employee life insurance. And we bought it for the first time 19 years ago. And we bought a 20-year term policy. So the last payment under that 20-year term is in January. And at the end of the 20-year term, the payment goes from $600 a year to $3,500 a year, $4,500 a year. At the end of the 10 years from now, it's $50,000. So I went out and did some research. I can get a new 10-year $1 million policy, which is what the current one is. I think if I'm in good health, I can get one for under $1,500. So I'm like, all right. But knowing what the insurance company is going to do when I apply for such a policy is run my medical records. So last year, my numbers were really good. And I'm like, I got to have numbers that are good again this year. If I have numbers good again this year, then in July when I apply for this life insurance, all I have to do is have numbers good then, and I'm golden. Then it's Dairy Queen every day. But between now and then, I've got to behave myself.
You have stock in Dairy Queen.
No, and obviously I don't, because I haven't eaten there in forever. I haven't had a Blizzard in forever. Yes.
Question I want to ask you, like the last 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's a random question. Do you have a Ninja ice cream maker? Like a Ninja, the Ninja air fryer? Because I can make you some blizzards, high protein blizzards. I started it with the kid, and it got really good. So,
All right, I'll let you know. Yeah, so what my week involves right now is, for the last 9 weeks, is I eat about 300 calories for breakfast. I drink water only for dinner, and then I eat about 1,200 calories for dinner. And then at least one day a week, I go 24 hours without eating at all. I spend 45 minutes on the elliptical, 45 minutes in the pool. And then in addition to that, I walk with Kim or on my own, 2 to 3 miles. Yeah. To drive down the life insurance premiums. Yeah, because, so how many more pounds? Well, I did lose 2 pounds this last week, and I needed to do 2 pounds a week until I got to that appointment. So that would put me, right now, it would put me at about 181.
you didn't lose the 2 pounds. I found them.
Okay, well, I'll share some more, Alan. If you don't mind carrying the burden for the church, I love it. Alan's like, I'm going to use my gifts.
I don't think they'll allow that.
They don't allow that? Well, the other thing is I found out that your BMI, which is the thing that's killing me right now, because they do this BMI thing, and based on your height and weight, they do this thing, and it ignores the fact that I'm swimming every day, so like I'm more physically fit, actually, and it ignores that. They don't care. And so, but I found out if I picked up a 1/4 inch in height, that'd be another 2 pounds off the BMI measure. And I found out that if you hang from a bar 3 sets for 30 seconds, 15 minutes before the appointment, you'll be a 1/4 inch taller. So, the rack, yeah, we could do it. We could do it here. Get enough guys to pull the arms, enough guys to pull the legs. Y'all remember the Andy Griffith show where Barney wasn't tall enough? Y'all remember this? And he hung from that thing in Andy's closet. Remember that? Y'all don't remember this? Oh my goodness, it's one of the greatest. And he was too light too, so he was trying to eat all this food. Remember, and he got the hiccups, he couldn't eat anymore. And then Andy found out that he could wear his dog tags on a chain. So he went to the local mechanic shop for cars and got a chain and put Barney's dog tags on the end of this 5-pound car chain. And Andy's like, they said you could put your dog tags on a chain. And so he made the height and the weight so he could stay a police officer. Y'all remember this? Oh my goodness. Y'all need to get out more. That's one of the greatest TV episodes of all time. So anyway, I'm going to see if I can find that head harness that Barney was hanging from in Andy's closet. So, yeah, I did some research on this. Yes, Jerome.
He was selling tickets.
He did, yeah, he was. Well, they didn't know he was in there. They heard something. They opened the door, and Barney was there. It scared all the kids. Yeah, that was a great scene. Oh, my goodness. All right, if y'all haven't seen that, go look for it. It's one of the best 30 minutes of TV sitcom history. Is Barney Fife is too short and underweight to make the state credentialing, and Andy fixes it. Oh, it is liquid gold. It is so funny. Anyway, all right. Do y'all not watch the Andy Griffith Show? What's wrong with you? Oh, my goodness. All right. It is. I agree. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, okay. So I'm working on that, and we'll see how this all works out. If I come in 2 Sundays and I look particularly sad, you'll be like, he spent 13 weeks doing all that for nothing. Just nothing. It didn't help him at all. Doctor laughed at him and kicked him out for being unhealthy. And all right. So next Sunday, we're going to get together at about 12:30 in the room next door, and we're going to get together for Christmas. Yeah. And so if you can bring an item, that's cool. There will be food, though. I'm sure there's some people that will bring enough for you and 2 more. I know I'm bringing some stuff. And so even if you don't bring anything, just show up, okay? But I'll email you with more details. And if you want to participate, we'll do a little gift exchange, $10 gifts, but you can do it one per family, one per individual, whatever you want to do, and then you'll pick randomly accordingly. But I'll bring a couple extras of those too, so in case you forget, no worries, all right? But we just want you to come hang out and enjoy lunch together, okay? So next Sunday, right after the 11 o'clock service, we'll meet in there, and we'll do lunch together, okay? And I'll send out an email reminder this week about all the details, okay? Yeah. And we'll invite also some of the Sunday school teachers from youth and kids who are also, they don't have a Bible school group they hang out with, but they came last time. Some of them came last time, and we want to make sure they feel invited too. Yeah. Because sometimes it's a little bit isolating if you're teaching Sunday school like with, middle school kids or elementary kids, and you don't have a Bible study group on Sunday morning, it can feel a little disconnecting. So we want to invite them and make sure they feel welcome too. And so Marina's done a great job of inviting them, and we'll invite them. But yeah, all right. So that's next Sunday. Like I said, if you show up next Sunday and you forget, you're good, no problem. You will be fine. Okay, we'll make sure you're taken care of. So if all you do is show up, we'll consider this 90% of the effort needed anyway. That's an A-. You're already in the A category. Yeah. All right. Well, today we're in Isaiah chapter 35 and doing some planning here. Isaiah 35, we'll cover a chapter a week probably until chapter 40. Chapter 40 will probably involve 4 weeks. Then we'll get back to probably a chapter or a week or maybe 2 weeks, a chapter for some of them, until we get to Isaiah 52 and 53. Those chapters will take us a few weeks. So yeah, we're on pace to finish Isaiah probably in 2026. I think so. Yeah, we'll see. All right. Okay, so Isaiah 10, I'll read the text and then we'll pray. The wilderness and the desert will be glad, and the Arabah will rejoice and blossom like the crocus. It will blossom profusely and rejoice with rejoicing and shout of joy. The glory of Lebanon will be given to it, the majesty of Carmel and Sharon. They will see the glory of the Lord, the majesty of our God. Encourage the exhausted and strengthen the feeble. Some of you are like, man, I need that verse. Isaiah 35:3. Encourage the exhausted and strengthen the feeble. Say to those with anxious heart, take courage, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance. The recompense of God will come, but he will save you. Then the eyes of the blind will be open, and the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. Then the lame will leap like a deer, and the tongue of the mute will shout for joy. For waters will break forth in the wilderness and the streams of the Arabah. The scorched land will become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water, and the haunt of jackals its resting place. Grass becomes reeds and rushes. A highway will be there, a roadway, and it will be called the highway of holiness. The unclean will not travel on it, but it will be for him who walks that way, and fools will not wander on it. No lion will be there, nor will there any vicious beast go up on it. These will not be found there, but the redeemed will walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord will return and come with joyful shouting to Zion, with everlasting joy upon their heads. They will find gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. Isaiah 35 is a very joyful chapter. So, all right, that's our text. Let's pray. God, you are good. Thank you for this very hopeful message, this very hopeful prophecy from Isaiah. This is our heart's desire, Lord, to see these things one day, not just to read about them and believe, but to see with our own eyes. And so we look to the day where you will bring about the complete restoration, the longing of our heart as your restoration work. We pray these things in the name of Christ. Amen. All right, so this text is about restoration hope. And we come off of Isaiah 34, which was a chapter on the wrath of God. And so Isaiah 35 is a chapter that is the antidote to chapter 34. Chapter 34 is the wrath of God, and in particular, might remember Edom is named, but it seems to be about all nations. And we turn from that to Isaiah 35, which is also a broad chapter. It mentions certain areas, but it's a broad chapter as well. There's this broad application with specifics mentioned. So Isaiah 34 and 35 work in tandem, where 34 is the wrath of God, and in particular how it will work out on Edom as a microcosm of the entire thing. And Isaiah 35 it's a global statement with some microcosm examples of certain places that were once desolate are now fruitful. And so we have this restoration hope here. And so the first thing is that creation itself participates in this. The wilderness and the desert will be glad. And so we have this rejoicing, this gladness that comes in the wilderness areas. There's this rejoicing that takes place. It goes on to say this desert area will blossom profusely and rejoice with rejoicing and shout of joy. And so we have this joyful response from the creation, where the creation itself is celebrating the restoration that's going to come. And this reminded me a little bit of the text in Romans chapter 8, where we are told that all of creation is waiting for this very moment. You remember Romans chapter 8, verse 20? It says in verse 19, I didn't put the verse in here. It says that the creation groans until now. And it says, for the creation was subject to futility, not willingly, but because of him who subjected it. And so the him there is capitalized, the him who subjected it, meaning God. So God subjected the creation to futility. And he did this because the creation is going to have to wait along with us until the full redemption. So there's a coming celebration of the trees and the grass and the fields and the mountains and the oceans. There's a coming celebration for the animals as well, because he does mention in here a few animals as well, is that all of creation will celebrate this restoration. And though Isaiah doesn't give us specific messianic language to it or talk about Jesus per se, he just speaks about it in contrast to the wrath of God on the nations. He says, as much as the wrath of God is on the nations, in contrast is this very hopeful aspect of the joy that will come in like manner for the creation and the nations. And so he talks about this. The creation, Paul talks about this. The creation was subject to futility. And he says it wasn't willingly. The trees and the grass and the animals, even the flying snakes, the animals were not thrilled with the way creation was going because of the sin of humanity that had plunged creation into the state of disarray or disorder. And And so not willingly, but because of God who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself also will be set free from its slavery to corruption into the freedom of the glory of the children of God. In other words, when God redeems humanity and ushers in an everlasting kingdom, he subjected the creation so that the creation, like humans, would break out in spontaneous rejoicing and praise at this redemptive moment. So you see the picture here is that God subjected the creation to futility. Instead of leaving the creation separate from the corruption that fell on humanity, he allowed the corruption that fell on humanity to fall on the creation. And doing so that when humanity is redeemed, the creation too will join in this praise of God in this moment of redemption. So the rocks, the trees, the plants, the birds, the animals, all these things of creation will join in the singing. And so not just humans, but all of creation will rejoice. And so this text in Isaiah, I think, is capturing this idea. But much like Edom was an example of the wrath of God and the total wrath that's coming on the nations, the example of the blossom rejoicing profusely and shouting with joy. It's very picturesque here. You have the lily and the daisy breaking out in praise to God, right? Remember, Jesus said this about when he was lectured on allowing these people to shout praise to him. Remember what he said? If these are silent, what? The rocks will cry, the stones will cry out. I know on the surface that appeared proverbial, but I'm kind of wondering if it's not real, given what we find here in the created order. Here we have the blossom profusely, blossoming profusely and rejoicing and shouting with joy. So the creation somehow expressing this aspect of worship. Now, I don't know. You see this in Psalm 19, right? The heavens are telling of the glory of God. Day to day pours forth speech, and night to night reveals knowledge. And so, yeah, this idea that the creation is worshiping God. And so I think this is very future looking by Isaiah. I think he's looking out into messianic second coming of Jesus type thing. All right? Comments or questions about that?
So it talks about a lot of nature in Lebanon, right?
Yes, that was the forested area of this.
Yeah, and I guess it was Solomon that built the temple. He used the trees of Lebanon.
The cedars of Lebanon, yeah, absolutely.
Were these big trees?
Yeah, they were. They're not as much now, but back then there was a massive forest area in that region. Yeah, the cedars of Lebanon. Yeah, they had a very forested area, and so this is the same area. I think that's why it's picked, is that Lebanon was a very picturesque, beautiful area, and that this natural place where you might go to walk through the forest and listen to the birds or whatever, that area will turn into a place of shouts of joy when this redemption comes through.
How far is that from Jerusalem?
Lebanon, I don't know, 100 miles? Alan, what do you think? 4-hour drive. So, yeah, maybe 100, 150 miles maybe.
So they had to move those trees a good ways.
Yeah, yes, they did. Solomon brought them in. Yeah, yes, in the construction of the temple, it would have taken some serious work to bring them in. Yeah. Yeah, so the majesty of Carmel and Sharon, these are also nature areas. You remember Mount Carmel is where they went to battle with Elijah, right, and the prophets of Baal. But there's also a mountain that overlooks the Mediterranean Sea. It's a very scenic place, a very beautiful place, a natural place. And so people would go there again to go enjoy nature, to get out in nature kind of thing. And so it's a very beautiful place. And so similar, this is this idea of this picturesque, natural place. It'd be like us saying we're going to go to Rocky Mountain National Park, or we're going to go walk the Appalachian Trail or something like that. And you'd say, we're going to get back in nature. And what he's saying is that kind of place, like Rocky Mountain National Park, will break into shouts of joy. The moose and the bear at Rocky Mountain National Park, I don't know if they still have bears in Rocky Mountain National Park, but definitely have moose. Scared the daylights out of me. Almost ran over one in a mountain bike one day. Scared me. Because they are aggressive animals, so they made me a little nervous. I reared off, and then, They are huge, yeah. It would have won if I'd run into it, that's for sure. And it was just outside Rocky Mountain National Park on a trail near Winter Park, and Kim and I had rented a couple of mountain bikes. We were riding through the park and almost ran into one. And so I hid behind this giant tree to give it some space. It finally wandered off. It's like, all right, I'll continue on my journey. But the moose and the trees and the mountains and the flowers of Rocky Mountain National Park and Smoky Mountain National Park and the Everglades will break into praise in this moment. And it could be all proverbial, but I don't know. Maybe Jesus just meant it proverbial. Even the rocks will cry out. I don't know. Psalm 19 says the heavens declare the glory of God. They pour forth speech. I don't know, it sounds like creation's really participating in this, and that currently it's groaning under the weight of human sin. And then when God makes a new heaven and new earth, the groaning will go away because sin will be banished. All right, so from there is the strength for the weak. Encourage the exhausted. Some of you are like, I need this verse today. I feel exhausted. I'm tired. Yeah, so I've been really going at it. So today, I've gone 6 straight days of elliptical work where I pushed my heart rate over 170. There's this new measure I found out about called the heart rate recovery rate at 1 minute and 2 minutes after max heart rate. Have you all familiar with this? So you max it out at like 170. I got it up to 178 on Thursday. And then you're supposed to sit down and rest, but I can't do that because the elliptical is the thing that gives me my heart rate. So I go from, really full out sprinting to, no elevation, no resistance, and pedaling just fast enough so it didn't turn off. And then you measure your heart rate, because that's what I'm doing, is on the elliptical, and you do it at 1 minute, and then you do it at 2 minutes. You familiar with this? Yeah, you're supposed to check, how far it drops. And this is can be a good measure of heart health. You should try it sometime with physician's encouragement, just saying. But so I've measured this now for the last, 3 or 4 weeks. I've been max the heart rate and then watch recovery. And so, but what that means is today, doing all those things to feel better and healthy, I feel exhausted and I feel terrible, which is why I'm not convinced that exercise is really good for you. I'm actually starting to think the other. Yeah, I would not be as tired or sore today if I had not exercised this week. I'm just saying. So anecdotally, I think these doctors are in cahoots with the exercise companies. And the whole thing's a lie. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So I'm exhausted. I feel weak and feeble. And those with anxious hearts, I got this appointment next Friday. I have anxiety. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, and the recompense of God will come, but he will save you. So again, this is contrasted with Isaiah 34, with the wrath of God coming. And it's like the wrath of God's coming. Hey, but you who are exhausted and feeble and have anxiety in heart, he will save you. And so the wrath of God is coming. But if you feel weak and needy and leaning on him today, this encouragement from Isaiah is you're just the person he's coming for. He will save you. So we are reminded of the promise of God that he will come and give strength to the feeble. He will strengthen the feeble. In fact, it reminds me a little bit of Isaiah 40, verse 31, which we'll cover here probably in March. But it's a great verse. You know this verse? Those who wait for the Lord will gain new strength. They will mount up with wings like eagles. They will run and not get tired. They will walk and not become weary. So, I'm gonna before exercising again, I'm just gonna wait for the Lord to pick me up and put me on the elliptical so that I can run and not get tired and walk and not get weary. And so I'm just gonna sit in my apartment till he does it, right? I'm gonna wait on the Lord and then I'll start running. Yeah, so in this case, we have this idea that waiting on the Lord, he will renew strength. But in Isaiah 35, it's these exhausted and feeble that the Lord will strengthen them. Those with anxious hearts. Feel some anxiety today? Things that you're anxious about, right? Or is everyone here perfectly calm and placid? No fear. There's a fearless room. All right. Well, I hope so. Yeah. He does say here the recompense of God will come, but he will save you. So there's a recompense, this reckoning, this payment for evil, this payment for sin. That's part of the wrath of Isaiah 34. But God will spare us from that who are exhausted and weak and feeble and anxious in heart. Those who are having to rely on the Lord for strength is that he will save us. All right, and this is both a physical and spiritual restoration. The eyes of the blind will be open, and the ears of the deaf will be unstopped. This reminds me, and the tongue of the mute will shout for joy. This reminds me a bit of Jesus' public ministry, yes? Is that during Jesus' public ministry, he restored sight to the blind and opened the mouth of those unable to speak, right? And so we have a bit of the first Messianic Advent. He showed signs of these ultimate restoration in his public ministry, restoring sight to the blind and restoring the ability to hear. And so just like the creation will shout for joy, these that have been restored physically will shout for joy as well, including those who have no ability to speak right now. That's pretty cool. This idea of being able to shout for joy when you're currently not able to do so. And so again, this is a promise of both spiritual and physical restoration. Yeah. All right, comments or questions? And then he returns back to he goes from human restoration to creational restoration. The scorched land will become a pool, and the thirsty ground springs of water. And the haunt of jackals, its resting place, grass becomes reeds and rushes. Rushes, bulrushes. Yeah, y'all know the bulrushes? You know what I'm talking about? Run alongside rivers. The Nile River had them. That's where Moses was drawn, from the bulrushes of the Nile River. And I remember this because it's in Huckleberry Finn. There's a chapter entitled Moses and the Bulrushes. And Mark Twain wrote this while living alongside the Mississippi River, which apparently also has, in some places, its share of bulrushes. And so Mark Twain was intrigued by Moses being pulled out of the Nile River, stuck among the bulrushes. And so y'all know what bulrushes are? They're like 3 or 4 inches of kind of a brown, rounded reed, and then on top it has a little pointy thing, almost like looks like the stinger on a insect on the very end of it. You know what I'm talking about? So long reed, and then at the top it's got like a brown, maybe about like this and about that big around. And it's got a little, at the very top it has a little stem on the top of it. It looks like a pointer that's about maybe 2 inches long. It's got like a, yeah, I don't know what I assume you break it off and plant it, it will grow, would be my assumption, as a seed for that particular reed. But the idea here is that you look out on the scorched land, and he's like, well, when this happens, you'll look out and it'll be rivers with bulrushes, fertile and growing and healthy. And for someone in Israel at this time too, the ground with that type of water this is the source of life. They needed rainwater and the wadis to fill with water and fill with life. And he's describing here for us the water, the bulrushes that come from this arid, dried out land, filling with lakes and rivers. So it's very picturesque, if you can imagine. Imagine standing maybe out in Death Valley, California or something. Yeah, like New Mexico. What's that? Streams in the desert. Yeah, so imagine standing maybe in South Arizona, south of Phoenix, and then me showing you a picture of this is what it will look like when Jesus comes. And you look out and it looks like, the Everglades or something, just water and beauty and green everywhere you look and not desolation. And so, so instead of being the haunt of jackals, like desert land, desert area, will be streams of water. And so we have both physical restoration of humans and physical restoration of the creation and in this text. And so this is a very hopeful future thing. And then we get to the highway. This highway is called holiness. The highway of holiness. Clearly not talking about I-20. That is the highway of unholiness. Yeah, I-20 is the highway of deception. The highway of evil. Yes, yeah. No, this is the highway of holiness. So you won't have to worry about traffic jams. And yeah, you won't have to worry about traffic jams because there's going to be no cursing or swearing in heaven. And so there will be no traffic jams in heaven. Yeah. No one to cut you off. Yeah. Yeah, no toll tags, right. Everything's free. You can drink from the waters freely, according to Revelation. And I think, based on that, you can go through the highways freely, too. No toll tags. What's that? Yeah, there's no horns on the cars there. Right, exactly. So, the highway's called holiness. The unclean will not travel it. See, this is not I-20. It's not I-20. The unclean will not travel it. All of you have gotten stuck in those, my world right now is 287, which they've totally overbuilt out there. And yet the entrance and exits for it, when they first way overbuilt, were just like some old country road. We have multiple fatal accidents, people trying to cross that highway coming out of neighborhoods with people going 65 plus on there. They finally went, okay, we got to fix this. I'm like, you didn't need a civil engineer. Like a mom and an SUV should have driven up and gone, this ain't going to work. You guys got to fix this. Just some mom who, with just some common sense, could have told the civil engineers, this is not going to work. They finally fixed some of those things, but all it takes is one wreck and there's no escape. There's nowhere to escape. It is the highway that is unclean and unholy. But in this case, this travel on this highway is for those who are righteous and holy. Who walks that way will not have to worry about the travel there. There's no vicious beast there. There's no traffic jams. There's no smog coming from the vehicle in front of you. And so, it will be clean and pure. So, we have this highway called holiness. This idea here is that the world will stream. He's already talked about this, but it talks about that the world will stream to Jerusalem, the holy city. This idea of the highway will be there, a roadway, and it will be called the highway of holiness. At this point in Isaiah's day, traveling from city to city, especially with robbers and other unethical behavior, it was very dangerous to go from place to place on foot. In addition to that, you had the Assyrians. At any moment, you could run across some military operation. You just never knew what was going on. And then on top of that, you had the risk of lion attack and other vicious beasts. And so it's like travel was, we better arm up. We better be ready to move quickly if we got to run. There was a fear there. And in this world where Christ returns and the eternal kingdom is ushered in, the highway will be the highway of holiness. And those who are walking it are those who are righteous, been made righteous. That's why it says in verse 9, but the redeemed will walk there. The redeemed and the ransomed of the Lord will return and come with joyful shouting to Zion, with everlasting joy upon their heads. They will find gladness and joy, and sorrow and sighing will flee away. Again, this sounds much like Revelation. A new heaven and new earth. He will wipe all their tears from their eyes. That there's a joyful return to Zion. See, this highway leads to the new city, the new Jerusalem. And there's a shouting of joy as you go up to the new Jerusalem. There's a highway headed into the new Jerusalem, the highway of holiness. And so that's what we're looking for. Highway to Heaven, yeah. Highway to Heaven. I think I did watch a few episodes of that. I didn't own a TV at the time, so if I watched it, it would have been some other means of watching it. But yeah, Kim and I did not own a TV for the first 20 years we were married. Yeah. We do now, yeah. I don't watch TV, but yeah, we do now. She watches some really cool stuff. Occasionally she'll go, yeah, you got to watch this program with me. There's one recently called, it was about the dragon. Something the dragon is about the assault by Hamas on Hamas on Israel in October 2023. I'd recommend it. It's really good. There's a couple of she pulls up some stuff. I'm like, wow, that's really good. So, yeah. The C.S. Lewis thing, any of y'all seen that one? The C.S. Lewis Surprised by Joy one? If you haven't watched that one, you should watch that. That is really good. So another one I recommend. She's like, let's watch the C.S. Lewis thing. I was like, all right. And I watched it and went, yeah, that was good. That was really good. So, but for the first 20 years of our marriage, we didn't own a TV. And so boys came along. We got them a thing that could play, what was the Nintendo before the Switch? The Wii. Yeah, we had a Wii. So we got, had a screen for that, but we didn't have TV on it. Yeah, we were happier then. Yeah. Before TV and before social media, yeah. All right, so the redeemed, the ransomed ones, the redeemed ones, he will buy them back, ransom them back, and bring them shouting joyfully to Zion, an everlasting joy. So this is a joy that will last forever. Sorrow and sighing will flee, all sadness will go away, gladness and joy only. And so this is this future restoration that we're looking for, that God will restore the city of Jerusalem and the nation of Israel, and all the nations will stream to it. And not only that, all of creation itself will be restored, so that creation, along with the redeemed, will rejoice with shouts of joy and gladness forever and ever, an everlasting joy. All right? All right, comments or questions? See, this is one. If you're going to send a birthday wish, Isaiah 35. You can use 35 and a verse in your birthday greetings. Not chapter 34 and the wrath of God, unless you're really mad at him. But chapter 35, happy birthday, thinking of you today, Isaiah 35:9. That one's okay. You're good. Yeah. So just be careful about references you send at birthdays, okay? Yeah. If you're going to randomly pick from Isaiah, you want to pick carefully. Just saying, okay? All right. Comments or questions? Anyone? All right, so next week we'll pick up this is a little shorter chapter. Next week we'll pick up Isaiah 36. We're about to head into the historical side of things, where Isaiah will will read much more like 1st and 2nd Kings or 1st and 2nd Samuel. It's a little bit more, this happened and this happened. Hezekiah did this, I did this, the Lord did this. It has a little more feel of the Kings or Chronicles type writing. And so we're going to get into some history here. And then while I'm in Israel, someone will be teaching Isaiah 40, from Isaiah 40. So someone has won the Isaiah prize of getting one of the coolest chapters in the Bible for teaching for me. Yeah, it's an incredible chapter. And so, yeah. All right. Well, you guys are amazing. Let me pray for us. Lord, you are good and kind, and you give us this hope, this future hope. One day, Lord, this gathering of people in this room, we will see each other face to face. We will see you face to face, and we will gather in the holy city with incredible rejoicing. And we thank you, oh God, for that hope, that everlasting hope. Strengthen the feeble, encourage and strengthen the weak. And I pray, Lord, that you would turn our anxiety into trust and joy, knowing that that's our ultimate destiny and it will last forever. So whatever troubles we face in this life are temporary and they're small by comparison. And so, Lord, I pray you would secure our hearts